Hello everyone, thank you for joining today's webinar, Stayntouch Product Enhancements, version 5.91, print stay card confirmation letters, party reservations, and more, presented by Stayntouch implementation consultant, Julia Josephson. I'm your host, Erin Fisher, the content writer here at Stayntouch. Today's presentation will cover how you can get the most out of the Stayntouch PMS version 5.91 product release. In this webinar, we'll cover the following enhancements: print stay card confirmation letter, support for party reservations, filter or search unassigned reservations in the room diary by company, travel agent, group, allotment, and party, the dashboard sort order update, rate sequence, expected functionality, the option to display double price when single is null from the rate manager, the option to configure housekeeping settings in multi-property configuration, distinct logos for virtual cards, some Stayntouch Connect API updates, and finally travel click enhancements. We'll have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation and we'll answer them in the order that they are received at the end. And that's all I have. Julia, I'm going to switch it over to you.
Great, thank you. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for your time. We're going to start today with the first enhancement, which is the ability to print the confirmation letter from the stay card. This feature is not enabled by default, so you start by enabling it by going into the main menu, into settings, and then under the hotel and staff section, we have stationery, and within confirmations/cancellations, and within guest confirmation, you'll see an option here on the right-hand side, which is print confirmation letter. I had already enabled it here for my property, but when you first go in, it will look like this because it will be disabled. And then you just click the toggle to enable and save changes. Now, when we navigate into a reservation, you'll see that we have the ability to print it. So you can pull up any reservation and click on the confirmation button as if you were to go and send the email. In this example though, I want to print it or save the PDF. So I am going to use the orange print letter button that is to the right of the send email option. When I do that, it will load in a PDF preview or print preview, similar to how a report pulls up when you go to print that, or a guest bill when it goes to pull that. And you'll have the option to print to any printers that your Google Chrome is connected to, or of course the ability to save as a PDF in Google Chrome. That was a much asked for enhancement, so I think that's going to make people very excited. The next enhancement is a little bit of a big one, so it might take me a few minutes to get through explaining, but it's pretty exciting. Before, if you had multiple reservations that were under the same name, it was still pretty easy to see that they were under the same name, but if you ever had ones under different names that were traveling together, it was a little more challenging. And so we've enhanced the system with a new party functionality. This, again, is also not enabled by default and actually has to be enabled by a Stayntouch administrator on our team. So please contact customer support to have this enabled for your property if you're interested after seeing this demo. So ultimately, this works when 2 or more reservations are created through the create reservation process, but not attached to a group or allotment. So let's make a multi-reservation here. I'm going to make it for, we'll do 2 rooms. Find rooms and rates. So almost like I'm making, reservations, two rooms for the same person. And then I'm going to, just like normal, select my rates that I want to book. And then I need to make it for a guest. Because I've attached a guest card, and again, this is 2 or more reservations for the same guest, but I'm not creating a group or allotment reservation. A party was automatically created. You can see that on the confirmation screen here, right underneath demographics, above the room details. It says party details. The party name is automatically the last name of the guest plus the word party. And then the party code is generated by default in the same format that an automatically generated group code is created. Ultimately, when we go into the stay card, we'll be able to see the party there and control it there. So here you can see under associated with, it says that I'm part of the Josephson party. If we toggle to the other reservation, it also says it's associated with the Josephson party. You'll see in the top right corner here, there's a little, it looks more gold than I think the group one tends to look more green or gray. If you click on that party card in the top left corner, it expands here. You can see it's Josephson party, and I can use this tab in the middle to expand. And as a user, I can change the name of the party. So, you know, if I meant for this to be called Julia Josephson's Bachelorette Party, I certainly could. The first name and the last name, as well as the contact phone number and email, are pre-populated with the details from that guest card. And since there was no phone number on the guest card, that field is blank here, but since there was an email address, that is listed here. And I can update those details as well. The only detail I can't update is the party code. If I wanted to, I could detach the party so that the reservation is no longer associated with it, just like how you could detach a group or a company or travel agent from a reservation. One thing that I think is pretty cool too is that, you know, I think this is a great use for when people are traveling together, but not necessarily the same name. So I've made these two reservations under my name, Julia Josephson, but let's say my sister is traveling with me instead. I can detach the guest card for one of the reservations, add one under her name, change this reservation only so that the other one stays under Julia Josephson. And now I have a reservation under Olivia, a reservation under Julia, all with Julia Josephson's bachelorette party as the party. You can also create new reservations as part of a party once the party has been created. So let's say my friend is going to join us. I can create a new reservation. And in the search field here at the bottom, this used to say company, travel agent, group, allotment. Now we've expanded that to say party, and you can search by the party name here on this left side or by the party code on the right side. I don't remember the party code off the top of my head and I didn't copy it, so I'm going to type Julia Josephson, yeah, bachelorette party. I can see I've got that little party icon. I select it, find rooms and rates, and it's not booking any negotiated rate or anything like that. It's just adding this reservation to the party. Let's book something here. And you can see this reservation was added to the party because I added it during that search. And it is associated with the bachelorette party on the stay card. When I go back out and I'm looking at these reservations, I can see all three of those reservations are here under Julia Josephson's bachelorette party. And I can even filter by that. So I can search bachelorette. Let me try again from outside here. Okay, Julia Josephson's bachelorette party. Very easy to come up with just those reservations. And because my name's Julia Josephson and this is my test environment, I have another reservation in for a different group. But normally we would just see the few that are part of that party. I guess I could could filter the search more by adding that apostrophe S, and now I'm just getting the bachelorette party. Another thing you can do is any existing reservations, if you find out later that that guest is traveling with them, you can associate that person with the party as well. So I can come into Savannah Swift's reservation. You can see she's already associated with the company Stayntouch. But if I click on this group party section and I search Julia Josephson's, we can see that party exists here. Just like if I were, associating a group to an existing reservation, the same thing happens, but of course it's not updating to a negotiated group rate or anything like that. And now that party is associated. The last part of this functionality that is ready now for release, or that has come out now, is on the room diary. And if I go to main menu, front desk, and room diary, you can search for the party reservations here. So I can search, actually, I think I was playing with this one earlier, the Pratt party. And any assigned reservations will come up here as part of the Pratt party and list the Pratt party underneath. And this leads us right into our next enhancement, which is the ability to filter a bit more on the room diary than you could before. On the unassigned reservation section, now we've created this drop down where you can search by guest, company, travel agent, group, allotment, party. If I just choose party by default, it's going to then only show me reservations that are part of a party. You can see, I know it's maybe a little small, but it has a little party icon next to each of these guest names. And ultimately, I have two parties staying in-house tonight. I have Julia Josephson's bachelorette party and the Pratt party, which I had created before. If I search Pratt party, or even just Pratt, the first name of that party, I get both reservations that are unassigned for that party. Similarly, I can do that with guest, company, travel agent, group. As another example, let's look at the other guests under company. Since I still have Pratt here, I'm not getting any results, but if I remove that, it's now showing me all of the reservations arriving today or on this date that are unassigned that have a company associated with them. And let's say I want to see the ones that are assigned with Costco. I can search Costco and then it's going to show me those. I think this is really helpful if you're trying to assign OTAs or VIP company guests on the day of arrival. This is a very quick way to do that. Moving on, back to the dashboard. We have the new dashboard search functionalities where we've demoed this before and shown you this probably a couple release cycles ago. We've added a new sort by option, which is just blank, and that's going to follow the more traditional search that you're used to. You can still change the sort by if you'd like to. And next is related to rate sequence. I'm going to go into the backend settings. And you can see right now when I go to rates and rates, I have 33 rates built and it's showing me all of my rates. And that's because in rates and rate sequence, I have it set to show in the admin rate setup alphabetical A to Z. Many hotels for a while had this set to custom sequence and it wasn't working as anticipated. They were selecting custom sequence, but it was still showing alphabetical A to Z. This enhancement has fixed that. So now if you change it to custom sequence, it's going to show just the rates that you have assigned to your custom sequence. So in this example, I have just these 3 rate codes assigned to my custom sequence. And since I've changed the admin rate setup to custom sequence and I save, when I go to rates and rates, I no longer have 33 rates showing. I have just those 3 that are in my custom sequence. If this has happened to you since this release and you're confused about why you're not seeing all of your rates, that's why. And if you go to settings, rates, rate sequence, and change this to alphabetical A to Z, it will go back to looking how you're used to seeing it. The next enhancement is also to rates, and this is to Rate Manager. I've got in this demo hotel here, zoom in a little, I've got a rate in here where I've only loaded double occupancy, not single occupancy rate. Previously, this would have shown as blank because single occupancy was just showing when you looked at the values. When I click on the rate, you can see that it's just double occupancy value. So this enhancement basically is that now double rate values will show in the rate manager when the single occupancy field has no value entered. Again, you can click on the rate and it will show you that there's no single occupancy rate, just the double. And if you're ever having trouble or are questioning, are these single or double, without clicking on every single one, you can click on this rate editor. This is not new, just more of a tip from me. You can click on the rate editor and quickly see that there's no values in for single for any of these room types. There's also no values here for adult or child, which would mean we couldn't book reservations for a more than 2 guests, more than 2 adults on a reservation in this rate code, and no children would be bookable. All right, our next enhancement is to our multi-property functionality. I've logged into a chain here. And so this isn't relevant for properties that have just one property, but if you are part of a chain that has the configuration multi-property options, you can click on configuration. And what we've added is this ability for housekeeping settings. You can now configure housekeeping settings from the chain level by toggling use chain settings on here in the top right corner. And then you can set these settings accordingly. By doing so and hitting save my changes, it will activate the housekeeping settings in these properties, and it'll lock them down at the property level so the properties won't be able to update them themselves. You can always disable this if you decide that you don't want to use it, but that is how you enable it and where you can make those settings changes. Our next enhancement, I can't really show you in the live environment, but I'm going to show you a screenshot. This is pretty cool. You might have noticed it already since this release came out over the past week for all of your environments. Now virtual cards have a little virtual indicator underneath, kind of at the bottom of the card's logo. This is to help make it clear to your team that it's a virtual card. And the original logo is unchanged. It just has the virtual underneath it to help you very quickly tell which one is a guest credit card versus, an OTA collect virtual card. Our next enhancements are related to integrations. We have a few new API integrations that you can contact customer support or your client success manager if you're interested in them. We now integrate with Blueprint RF, Reconcile OTA, which I know is an exciting one for many, XNPOS, and Order and Pay by Fetch. Those are all integrations that are available globally and have no regional restrictions. We've added a query parameter for Connect APIs, which now allows the following fetch reservation endpoints: reservations, reservations/summary, reservations/checked-in, and reservations due-in. This allows for searching reservations using complete or partial guest last names with only 1 character required. And the last enhancement is for iHotelier and TravelClick. I will say this is not going to be relevant for everyone using TravelClick and iHotelier, but if you have it set up in iHotelier or TravelClick to take payments in TravelClick directly, where they process the credit card for you, we now have the ability to transfer that payment as an offline payment straight to the bill and charges screen on the reservation, rather than just having a note that a deposit payment of X amount was paid. This will save the manual effort of having to post those manually, monitor them manually. Any additions or changes in modify messages will be ignored. To receive those payments in Stayntouch, there is some additional configuration required, and you can contact customer support if that's something you're interested in using. Again, it's not relevant for, I would say, the vast majority of hotels using iHotelier and TravelClick, but if you do get those deposit payment messages or deposit payment notes, from travel click on certain reservations, that might be something that would be helpful for you. That is everything I had to display for you. Thank you for your time, and I'm going to turn things back over to Erin.
All right. Thank you so much, Julia. I'd now like to turn over the floor for questions. Remember, you can submit questions through the question box in the middle of the control panel. So our first question is from Cassie. She asks, is it possible to choose the default sort methods? Prior to this update, the departures always sorted by room number. Now they are sorting by last name. We would like to update the default for departures to be by room number.
Hi, Cassie. Hope you're doing well. I don't believe that that's possible, but we can take that back to the product team as feedback on this feature. We really appreciate it.
I don't see any other questions yet, but I'll give everyone a few moments to enter those. All right, since there are no questions, let me share my screen again. All right. So in today's webinar, we reviewed the print stay card confirmation letter, support for party reservations, filter and search by unassigned reservations in the room diary by company, travel agent, group, allotment, and party, the dashboard sort order update, rate sequence expected functionality, the option to display double price when single is null on the rate manager, housekeeping settings configuration for multi-property configuration, distinct logos for virtual cards, Stayntouch Connect API updates, and travel click enhancements. With that, I'd like to conclude our presentation. Thank you all for coming, and if you have any additional questions, feel free to email me at erin.fisher@stayntouch.com. Thanks again.